Well, as Shannon said, I am your Chief Energy Officer, and I know when you're coming in on the morning, there are some things that have already occurred that have already rubbed you wrong, put you in some weird energy moods. Kid was crying, you might have spilled some coffee, you got an email you didn't want. So we are going to stand up with these Post-it notes, and we're going to either peel them off or shake them off for about 30 seconds so we can just recharge, get present before I jump in today and really energize you. So stand up. Bobby's gonna play a little music and either peel it off or shake it off, baby. Let's go. Peel it off, shake it off, peel it off, shake it off. Let's go. Yes, get it off you, get it off you. Yes, yes, yes. Get all that energy off you. Any sticky energy, get it off. Throw it off, throw it off, throw it off. Yes, get it, throw it out, get rid of it. Yes, yes. All right, gentlemen, I want to see you throwing those Post-its. Awesome. Yes, throw them off, throw them off. All right, we're good. Okay, perfect. So I bet you would never think you can learn business strategies from a monkey, but I did. For years, I have studied how energy fuels businesses, whether that be through scientists or thought leaders. But the lesson I remember the most, that one came from a monkey. It was at the Acamel Monkey Sanctuary in Tulum, Mexico. And what started as a girls' trip turned into a life lesson. You see, the Acamel Monkey Sanctuary takes in all sorts of rescues, supporting over 200 specimens from 55 different species. And as we were toured throughout the various enclosures, our tour guide, Oscar, he shared each animal's history and origin, health updates to note, and of course, how the sanctuary came to be, ultimately leading us to the highlight of our visit. Now I want to tell y'all, Oscar warned us, we were about to see some highly unusual behavior. Spider monkeys were standing on two hind legs like humans. And this is really weird to process because we're so used to seeing them down here. But when they stand up, they are ginormous. And as all of us tourists, we start going around this giant enclosure and looking at these things, we start realizing these little boogers started mocking us. Like one of the monkeys leaned back and pretended to drink cups of coffee, and another one ran over and pretended to put on lipstick. We all looked to Oscar, we're like, bro, fill us in. What is going on? And finally, he gave us the tea. You see, just a few years earlier, the sanctuary had received a female monkey from what they believed to be a traveling circus. Mimi had been taught how to perform human activities to energize her audiences. Therefore, she learned how to stand like a human, walk like a human, drink cups of coffee like a human, and even put on lipstick. Now, as you can imagine, when this monkey arrived to the sanctuary, the caretakers, they didn't want to introduce her to her own kind. In fact, they didn't even want her near the spider monkey cage. What if she were shunned for her un-monkey-like behavior? What if she endangered their entire ecosystem? Honestly, they were fraught with fear and uncertainty. But finally, someone said, we gotta test the enclosure. And they hoped that Mimi would learn how to behave like a monkey. You know, monkey see, monkey do. But to their surprise, Mimi taught all of the other monkeys her circus acts. And that is what we were seeing right before our eyes. Can you imagine? Now, I laughed with the other tourists, but it really got me thinking. What if the sanctuary never introduced Mimi to the rest of the spider monkeys? Suppose they stuck to their traditional views of monkey-like behavior. They might have missed the opportunity to see how she enhanced the group dynamic. Initially, they believed that isolating poor Mimi until she conformed was the safest strategy. Thankfully, they realized that their real misstep was underestimating the value of her differences and the energy those differences bring. By shifting their perspective to embrace her uniqueness, they were able to change a troubling problem, a challenge, into a reward for the business. You see, Mimi has played many roles throughout the years, and this is so exciting because now she is an energy conduit. So what do I mean by that? She is the conduit between the sanctuary and the entire surrounding Tulum area. It's fascinating. Animals actually know to go to the sanctuary to get help. But when they get there, they're too afraid to get help because of humans. So the doctors are using Mimi to calm down nature, calm down these animals that are hurt, so that the doctors can do their job. It's absolutely amazing. They're able to actually help now. See, this is the power of perspective. When you reframe a challenge, you can then choose to fuel a positive path forward instead of draining your battery, staying stuck in that same problem. So let's see how this might be showing up for you. Y'all are coming up on your 1-year anniversary, which is huge. Like, give yourselves a huge round of applause. I have been there with you and done that. Yes, absolutely. And although some of you are here through Bristol Casino, everything's still new. New property, new teams, new leaders. How many promotions did Allie just announce? A ton. And I learned many of you are new to this industry and even leadership itself. And in any pre-opening, and especially in those first few years as you're kind of getting your footing, it's very common to feel a mix of emotions. You might feel confused. You might feel like you have to do it all on your own. You might feel drained because you pour all of your energy into creating amplified guest service. Unsure how to delegate. Unsure even how to lead. But as I said, you pour everything in because you're winning every single award. Like, hello, that is amazing. And that is what is so exciting and energizing. That newness, hitting those awards, that's what gets you energized. Back here, though, back of house, where no one sees, that's where your energy can feel really heavy. And in those moments, it's really tempting to view your newness as a weakness, because you can feel caught between wanting to deliver that amplified guest service, motivating your team members, and driving profits. We got our finance guys right up here, all while wondering, how do I keep this up? But what if I told you you could use what you might believe to be a disadvantage to your advantage? A reframe to reclaim. A reframe of your perspective to reclaim your energy. Because a perspective shift is anything but. It is the difference, as I said, between moving forward and draining your battery. It's the difference between barely surviving and thriving for more energy for yourself, for your team, and for everyone as leaders. Remember Mimi in the Acamel Monkey Sanctuary? How she rewired its dynamic and inspired others to follow? Yes, I get it, she's a monkey. Her approach is a bit unconventional, but it worked. Changing the energy within yourself, within your teams, and even with this entire company, it is no small feat. Humans, like monkeys, are hardwired to resist change. But shifting the energy around you can create a powerful force of transformation. It can inspire new ways of thinking. It can motivate others to follow your vision. And it can even lift you up out of a slump if you need it. And guess what, y'all? It's more achievable than you think, because if a monkey can do it, so can you. So that's your takeaway when you want to shift your perspective. We're going to monkey up. Now, you've heard me use this term energy quite a few times today. And we often have a hard time coming up with a single definition when it comes to that word energy. Yeah, I see a lot of heads nodding. Yeah, in fact, if I asked you all to write down a definition, I'd probably get a plethora. So let's just take a moment and kind of flesh this out, starting with the history. For years, energy was barely understood by humans. In fact, it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution that we started to perfect the art of energy conversion. And that ushered in an era of fossil fuels, electricity, steam engines, and it changed the world as we knew it. And then every few decades, we stumble upon more abundant sources of energy, like solar and nuclear, revealing to us that energy is not only all around us, but it's likely free of charge. But there is one form of energy we have not tapped into, and that is personal energy. Think about it. We run these amazing machines off of solar, coal, all sorts of things, but we have yet to build workplaces and lives built off of true human battery. And that, my friends, that is the next energetic revolution. So let's start with the definition. Scientists define energy as the ability to do work. And we're all familiar with various types. We just said them: chemical, light, heat. But these types can be broken out into two forms. We have kinetic energy, which is energy in motion. And we have potential energy, which is stored. Now, the beautiful thing about energy is that it's convertible. So we can use these same principles that scientists use to better understand our own personal energy. Essentially, when you fuel this energy in motion, you experience positive energy. But if you drain this stored battery, you're going to feel that negative energy. So let's take this out of the textbook and into real life, because we have energy all around us. For example, when you walk into a restaurant, or even when you walked into this conference room, y'all assessed how comfortable you felt based on the ambiance or the atmosphere, whether it was the collective, the people you sat next to, or this amazing room with all of your fun facts. And we all know what it's like to walk into a room and experience someone's negative energy, like, whoa, get away from me. But if someone's coming in hot, they can light up a room. Y'all like that term vibe. I know it's one of your terms. I like that term zeal too. So fun. Because no matter what, your energy is transmitting messages all around you before you even say something. And the way you feel about yourself becomes part of the messages you transmit. So, how do you gain control of what you transmit? To start, you must understand that the energy you put out into this world is based on the way you see things. And the way you see things is forged by your biology, your biography, and your beliefs. So to bring this to life, you all have glasses in front of you, and I want you to put yours on. And I'm going to put my big ones on so you never forget. Never forget to shift that perspective, baby. All right. All right, everyone's got their glasses on? All right. Now, if you are wearing rose-colored glasses, shout it out loud. What color are you seeing the world through? Rose. All right. And when we got any blues in here, what color are you seeing the world through? Blue. All right. The lens through which you view the world tints everything that you perceive. Therefore, if you're wearing, let's say, green colored glasses, and I define green as positive, oh girl, you're going to see, the world through, positive lenses. You're going to love it. But what do we got here? Oh, teal. If I define teal as negative, I'm so sorry, sir. But the lens through which you see that world, it's going to be so negative. Don't worry, I won't do that to you, though. Now, we're all familiar with positive and negative, but the effects are actually constructive versus destructive. And I like to compare our constructive and destructive energy to the battery in our cell phones. So you can take off your glasses, but I want you to put your cell phones out. It's probably the only time a keynote's going to tell you to bring those bad boys out, but it really works for this exercise, and we're going to use them later anyway. All right, now I know when I ask you to pull your phone out, you're probably going to see an email. You're going to want a squirrel. I already know it. Take a deep breath in, acknowledge it. Oh, I already caught Allie doing it. See, look at that. No worries, bring it back. But when you look at your cell phone, I want you to take a look at your battery. If your battery is at 100%, you know, my phone can do anything. I can take pictures, I can edit those pictures, I can use my navigation, I can use my apps. Essentially, your phone operates at 100%. Humans are the same. When you are well fed, well slept, taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental health, you can do anything because you're fueling that kinetic energy. Destructive energy, it has the opposite effect. Destructive energy pulls from that stored battery. And what it does is it takes away a lot of your energy. And just like when you unplug your phone from a charger, what you'll notice is you'll start to use your battery. And various apps, they pull different amounts of energy. We all know. Use your navigation, drains your battery. You got a kid, they want to play a game on your phone, they're going to drain your battery. Maybe it's a kid who drains your battery, but either way, batteries are drained. And if you continue to use your phone throughout the day and not plug it in, what you'll notice is the battery will continue to decrease. And eventually, as it goes down, some apps will just stop working. They start bugging out because they don't have enough charge. And then your light will start to dim. And we all know that notification. Low power mode. Because if you don't plug your phone in, it will no longer work. And humans are the same. And unfortunately, a lot of us are operating on low bat, which means it enhances our emotional reaction to stress, causing us to experience that destructive energy in our thoughts, in our emotions, and it drives our actions. So let's see how destructive energy shows up for us, because it shows up for us in two different ways. What did you want to be when you grew up? Pop it into your head. What did that little you want to be when you grew up? Oh, I see smiles. We probably got some superwomen in here. All right. What did your parents want you to be when you grew up? Pop that into your head. We got some laughs. We got some nods. It's quite a bit of a difference, right? Don't worry, my dad has no idea I make my living as doing this right now. In fact, he's never understood what I've done, and I've been in hospitality and HR my entire life. So much so, he tells people I'm an accountant. Yeah. Why? Because my dad believes, Rebecca, there are only 3 jobs worth pursuing in the United States of America. You see, he immigrated from Pakistan in the 1970s. My dad's about this height on a tall day. And he has the most beautiful, thick Pakistani accent that I absolutely love and cherish. And he speaks to his children the way he speaks to his patients. He is wise, his energy is calm, he is the guru, and we shall listen. So when I asked my dad, what should I be when I grow up? Here's what he said. Rebecca, you are the oldest of all of the children. You would follow in my footsteps and you will become a doctor. Americans, they value their health, and Americans, they value their money. So you know what, my darling, you take care of their health and you take their money. Y'all, I was 16. I was like, Dad, I can't even get my blood drawn without passing out. How am I supposed to help patients? What else you got? Rebecca, this country is very, very litigious. I don't know where the lawyer is in this room, but they're very litigious. You saw what your mother did to me in that divorce. She took me to the cleaners. Yes, yes. You become an attorney and you protect my assets from your mama. I was like, whoa, Dad, I don't have that competitive energy in me. I love to love. What else you got? Why, of course. Congratulations, Rebecca. You're going to become an accountant. You will know how to make your money. You will know how to manage your money. It is settled. So easy, finance, right? Settled. I am not an accountant, as you probably have figured out. But to make my dad proud, I did genuinely explore each of the paths he outlined. But I'm gonna tell you right now, despite my best efforts, I was not cut out for any of them. They just didn't energize me or align with my passions and my purpose. And even though I knew that, and I jumped into hospitality over 15 years ago because I fell in love, that was a passion of mine, that doesn't mean that those little voices in my head didn't show up to tell me where I was falling short. In fact, that's when they got louder. I've named mine Negative Nancy and Bossy B, and they sound a little like this. Rebecca, you can't do that. You're not good enough. You're such a disappointment to your father. Ugh, I know we laugh, but doesn't it sound familiar? We all have them. And even worse, it feels familiar. These internal voices are the predominant causes of our internal stressors. And as they echo through our mind, they create feelings that weigh us down, honestly making it difficult to cope. So what do? We pull out a coping mechanism. We try to shove it right down. I know. But when it comes back up, because it always does, it comes back up in the form of fear, avoidance, and self-doubt. And all of these emotions stem from limiting beliefs. And these limiting beliefs, they're from the most destructive place of energy a person can experience. In fact, when a person's experiencing it, is if they don't have control of their life. They don't have control of their future. And here's the crazy thing about these limiting beliefs. They start to evolve. They evolve into stories that we make true because we try to prove it. Oh, I wish I could be a good leader, but statistics say, 80% of managers, they're bad leaders. You know what? I don't need to be a good one today. No problem. You found that story. Internalize that destructive energy. Oh man, I wanted to be an executive chef. I can't do that. I found all the reasons why. Let me internalize that. And we internalize and internalize negative energy, limiting beliefs, more and more. But what happens when we have nowhere else to put all of this destructive energy? Look around the room, Hard Rock. Because when you're done beating yourself up, the only place to go is external. Yeah, you start going after each other. Going after other departments, going after your colleagues, your friends, your family. Because the second way that destructive energy comes up in us is through judgments and assumptions. Now, what are judgments and assumptions? They're bias, right? And we're all familiar with that term because a bias traditionally refers to the explicit or implicit views we have about certain groups of people. We also see bias come up in how we evaluate a situation. Is it an opportunity or is it a challenge? And these biases, they have measurable effects on organizations. I learned that your turnover is just over 50%. Ooh, I felt the energy in here. I felt people already shifting, wiggling in their chairs when I said that. And I'm going to double down on it. Gallup says, based on their workplace study year after year, around 40% of those could have been prevented if desired. I know all of them weren't wanted desired. But here's the thing. I don't share this with you to place blame. I share this with you to feel your energy. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Are you creating a list in your head right now of the separations that have occurred in your department? You're kind of thinking, was it talent acquisition? Was it my selection? Was it onboarding? Was it training? Or do you not care? Are you looking around the room for someone else to blame? Throwing eyes somewhere else? Because no one has stood up so far since I said that and said, you know what, Rebecca, it's me. Sally Sue left because of me. I'll take that. No. Our ego naturally jumps in, which is a perfect form of attribution bias, which means that you view your own actions as delightful. But if someone does the exact same thing, you look at them with a lot more scrutiny. Whether you internalize your destructive energy or expel it upon others, the results become the same. Destructive energy drains our battery mentally, emotionally, and physically. And if you continue to let it fester, it fosters an environment ripe for burnout. And I want to talk about that term because that term is overused so much, and it's so important to know really what burnout is. Burnout is when someone experiences excessive and prolonged stress. I highlight excessive and prolonged because you can have a project you all just had pre-opening, energy shift, year 1. It takes a lot of energy to go through these, but you can see the end of that opening in sight. We're hitting the 1 year. Strides are happening. When someone is experiencing burnout, it's as if they cannot take these lens of destructive energy off. They're glued to their face. That's the difference. And you got to get ahead of it. So it's important to ask yourself, first, are you going home every night absolutely exhausted? Are your team members getting more and more irritable and answering quicker and quicker? And is your department in reactive mode versus proactive mode? These are important questions to ask as you assess the levels of burnout within your team, because burnout leads to not only disengagement, a severe decrease in productivity, and it can even lead to depression. And we all know that doesn't just impact that one person, it impacts every single person around them. So why do we do this, right? Like, why do we lead with this destructive energy when we have burnout? 2 reasons I'll tell you. First, our brain has a safety detector built in stemming from the amygdala. And yes, this is how I view the amygdala. And what it does, it's taking in information all day. And as soon as it experiences something different, it goes, ah! And it creates an opportunity for a limiting belief or a bias. Now remember, with limiting belief, you go internal. Rebecca, you can't do this. Bias, nobody else should do this either. Start going external. The second reason why we lead with destructive energy is because we just have too much information coming at us at any given time. I'm going to make you all the splash zone over here, and I'm going to pop a really fun confetti cannon over your heads. So get ready, and I want to see how many pieces of confetti you can catch. Let's see what we got. All right, ready? Everyone want to give them a big round of applause first so they get ready for this? All right, awesome. All right, let's go. Sometimes my hands get slippery and I have to hold it for a second. Shoo! Oh, I love it. He even grabbed the backpack. This is a metaphor for how many pieces of information are coming at us at any given time. Scientists believe that we get around 11 million pieces of information coming at us, yet we can only process 40 to 50. No wonder we're frustrated and exhausted. So what do we do now? We know what destructive energy is. We know what constructive energy is. We know how it impacts us. We now understand why. Here's the fun part. We get to jump into solution mode. And we're going to do this leveraging my 5 energetic success principles. Now, in your books, you're going to read a variety of examples and stories of how to apply these principles. But for today, I wanted to curate the experience. You all create amplified guest experiences every single day. I wanted to create an amplified team member experience. So let me jump right in. Energetic success principle number 1. Leading with love or care. Now, when it comes to energy, what often drains our passion, whether that be in our personal lives or our professional lives, is that somewhere along the way, we stop leading our life with care. It's human. We have a tendency to want to jump into something, we get so excited about it, but then as the days go by, we go into autopilot mode. Why? Because somewhere along that way, we lost sight of what we personally value. The best way to lead with care, honestly, the only way to care, is to actually care. It sounds so simple, right? Yet we start just going through the motions, and it's not because we don't give a damn, it's because we forget to stop and connect what we're doing to what we value and care about. And when that connection is missing, our energy drops. Remember the story I shared with you recently about my dad, Rebecca, doctor, lawyer, accountant. Even though I knew that I didn't align with that value, it didn't ignite my passion and my purpose, as I shared, my limiting belief still came up. But what if you don't know what ignites your passion or your purpose? What if you don't know your why? What if what you love to do is also outside of work? This isn't your passion or purpose. Don't freak out. That does not mean quit your jobs and go raise alpacas. What it means is that you need to connect some dots. The key is connecting what you care about and what you value to the task in front of you. This is how you rewire your approach to motivation. So what might this look like for you? There are a lot of new leaders in here, so I'm going to take an example from that. Let's say you have to give someone some feedback, some strong feedback. And me even saying that just starts sliding you into destructive energy. You're like, I hate doing that. This is where you're going to stop and ask yourself, which one of my values can I bring forward? What do I care about and value in my life? And how can I use that to lead with care to do this task, to provide someone feedback? So for me, if I go through some of my values, one of my values is authenticity. And so I would think through, okay, how can I use authenticity to energize me to do this task, leading with care? One example might be, I just sit a team member down and say, hey, I value authenticity. And because of that, I want to be really honest with you and provide you this direct feedback because I want to see you grow. Another example might be, you create a sheet and you define what amplified guest service looks like on a scale, let's say 1 to 5, and ask your team member to rate themselves on that scale authentically. And then you have a conversation of where you're aligned and where there's opportunity. These are just a few ways that I could use my value of authenticity to energize my interest in having a difficult conversation. You'll need to think about what your values are to bring those forward. And if you have questions on this, ask me after. I'll coach you all day on this. I run workshops on this so that you can do this. Because the key is, when you understand what you value and care about, and you connect it to what you're doing, even if it's a mundane task, even if it's something that you don't want to do, it actually can energize you. And when you learn how to do this in yourself, you can then take it to your teams. And that takes us to energetic success principle number 2, cultivating curiosity. Now, I just shared how you can energize your own values within your own self. But here's the thing, none of you work alone. You all have team members, colleagues, leaders, families, friends. And so your energy doesn't stop with you. It starts moving on. So you need to understand, what do those around you value and what drives them crazy? Because if you don't know what de-energizes them, you could be doing something every day and it's like nails on a chalkboard and you have no idea. So I'm going to have you take this exercise to your sound checks. But first I want you to practice. When I say go and not before, I want you to find someone you work with, whether it's someone you're sitting next to. I saw quite a few people are sitting next to each other, or someone across the room that you work with. And I want you to buddy up. And one person's going to ask, what energizes you and what drains your battery? And you'll spend about 2.5 minutes with partner number 2 just sharing that. And then you're going to flip. And I will tell you when to flip so you know when the time is. We're going to spend about 5 minutes on this because I want you to practice this So when you take this into your sound checks, you kind of have an understanding of what's going to come out of people, because there's going to be some, oh, I had no idea. And it'll be a little light bulb moment, okay? So we're going to pop some music on, find a partner, and ask these 2 questions. Select who will be partner 1, select who will be partner 2, and Bobby will throw in a little bit of music while they do this. All right, I'm going to walk around with you. What energizes y'all?
What energizes me is meeting my short-term goal every day of counting the money accurately and not making any mistakes.
Yeah.
I pride myself on that.
Absolutely. The devil's in the details, they say, right? Especially when it comes to money.
We have to count it down to the exact last dollar.
Yep, absolutely.
So on the adverse of that, what drains my battery is doing dumb mistakes that could be prevented that prohibit me from accomplishing what energizes me.
Yeah. And what are some of those mistakes that you might make?
We can do myriad of things. We can assign money to the wrong asset. We can forget to take money out of an asset.
Yeah. And is it usually because of speed, or like you get distracted?
I mean, we do a lot of repetition, and sometimes people get lost in the repetition, and instead of concentrating on what they're doing, they're just going through muscle memory. And
yeah. That's the autopilot we just talked about. Absolutely. Awesome. All right, I'm going to let you share now and pop to someone. Okay. Just listening in. What energizes you? What drains your battery?
Drain the energy of others.
The drained energy of others.
Yeah, or like they're, down, depressive energy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where those sticky notes came in handy. We're going to be putting that to use, because that's a very sticky energy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. All right, we can switch. Switch to partner 2. Did you guys share with each other? What energizes you? What drains you?
What energizes me is actually completing tasks. And what drains me is the opposite of that, having 4 or 5 tasks and not getting any of them done.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, now I have to put this on tomorrow's, and it keeps going. All right, what about yourself?
Making money and losing money.
I love that. It's so clear. When I make money, I get energized. When I lose money, I drain. Do you play at all, like gamble?
No, I don't gamble.
Yeah, me neither. In the hospitality space, okay. That's another form of gambling, right? I guess we have gambling in all different ways of our life, right? Like anything we invest in is a little bit of a gamble.
I would say I'd like to think of it not as gambling because there is strategy.
Yeah.
There's a lot you have to learn in order.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Gambling is walking consent.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a poker player might debate that with you, and I guess the card counters, but that's about it. You're right. Other than that,
Poker's a little different because you're playing against other people and not the house.
yeah, exactly. Oh, you guys don't play against the house? It's only against other people in poker here? Okay. Because I know they've got like a couple different ones, so. All right, cool.
And then the other way I'd also put it is, how many gamblers for multiple years in a row can increase their portfolio 50% every year?
Yeah.
You know any gamblers that do that?
No. No. And I know a lot of gamblers in Vegas. They usually have their big wins, and then it slowly goes down for years, and then big wins slowly goes down. So yeah, absolutely. We can start dimming it. All right, I heard some amazing conversations. Thank you so much for connecting with each other, and take that, like I said, back to your sound checks so that you can find from your teams and those you work with what energizes them and drains them. Because the takeaway is, when you understand this, you can align on strengths and remove any unnecessary friction. This is how you take chaos or people on your team who maybe aren't connecting as much as you want, and turn it into collaboration. This is how you shift friction into flow. And this takes us to our next energetic success principle. Practicing presence, number 3. Now, I just shared, take this to your sound checks, ask all of your team members what energizes you, what drains your battery, and then you're going to get a ton of information. And you're going to be like, this is a lot of information. So behind asking the question and cultivating curiosity is practicing presence. Practicing presence means after you ask, you need to listen, not answer in your head while they're talking, actively listen, acknowledge, ensure that you actually heard them. Repeat back, did I hear you correctly? Because remember those biases, they'll naturally come up and they can really distort what we hear. So ask them, and then you can move into action. Now, y'all are human and you're going to get a lot of information and you can't tackle it all at once, and that's okay. This is where transparency becomes super important because you can share them with your team. We can do this right now. I can't do this right now. So let's create an action form. Let's look at how we can put this into strategy and plan this out. And this is the beautiful thing about presence, is that you can invite your team in to be present with you and hold you accountable. Presence is about accountability. So you ask them, can you be my accountability partner and practice presence with me so we move this forward? And I will be accountable to you. Always follow a question with presence. Presence means closing the loop. And this takes us to energetic success principle number 4, the principle of detachment. Remember the sticky notes this morning? And it's really fun because I got to hear a lot of your what's exciting you and draining you, and those sticky notes were exactly it. Other people's energy, external forces. Things happen, and then they end up sticking to you, just like those sticky notes this morning. And because y'all probably lead with service or in hospitality, it's a natural place that we like to go. How can I help you? What can I do? We empathize with people. And we start wearing those stickies as if it's our own energy. He was having a bad day, I'm gonna wear that too. I spilled my coffee today, I'm gonna wear that too. My kid, they didn't get an A, I'm gonna wear that too. Any time that an external force comes your way, I want you to peel it off, just like we did this morning. If you want to do the shake, you can do the shake. But here's what peel means. Peel means for P, pause and acknowledge what's going on. Just acknowledge it. If you spilt your coffee this morning, let's just say this is an example. You spilt your coffee on your shirt, you're like, all right, pause, I just spilled coffee on my shirt. E, acknowledge the energy you're experiencing. Call it out. It actually helps it become less controlling. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm so annoyed, I can't believe this just happened. Spilled coffee on my shirt. The second E is to edit your response. This is the principle of detachment. What was the fact? What was fiction? What was fact? What is the story you created? The fictitious story. Coffee spilled on my shirt. I don't need it to ruin my entire day. We naturally go to those internal and external voices again, those energies, and we say, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did this. How could I do this? I knew not to put coffee on my shirt. Or external, every single person driving today, it was them. They were crazy drivers. They made me spill coffee on my shirt. You spilled your coffee. It's okay. It doesn't need to ruin or carry on throughout your entire day. And L is for lead forward. Lead your life, lead your energy. Change your shirt, clean it, whatever you need to do. But pop back into your role, pop back into who you are, and lead your life. Every time you look at a little Post-it note now in your office, and if you're feeling yourself with a little bit of wiggly, destructive energy, I want you to do this peel. Peel it off. Pause and say, what is causing this? How can I edit my response and not carry someone else's energy? It doesn't need to ruin your entire day. And this takes us to energetic principle number 5. Inspire possibility. How often do you give someone a yes? Do it all day long. We're in hospitality. That is the coolest part about our job. So many other people have to say no all day long. It is so less energizing than what we get to do. And it's so exciting because we get to create amplified guest service. But when's the last time you gave yourself a yes? Yes to cultivating curiosity and having a conversation with your team. A yes to practicing presence, actively listening, acknowledging, and actioning things forward. And a yes to leading with care, coming from that heart. We are so much harder on ourselves than we are on our guests. But your focus fuels your energy. What you focus on will fuel where your energy flows. So if you shift your focus from destructive energy to constructive momentum, here's what the research shows. The research shows that when you shift your perspective from that destructive space to constructive energy, you can increase your engagement at work up to 50%. You can increase your work-life harmony up to 71%. And your connection with your coworkers and your family and your friends increases up to 44%. We do these studies, PhD-backed, every single year. Y'all live in the numbers. You're hitting every single number. I know you're competitive. I know Allie. She likes to win. This is all about winning. Imagine what that type of shift can do for your internal energy, your team, and the entire organization. And here's the thing about inspiring possibility. When you say yes to yourself, you give permission to everyone else around you to do the same. And it's not just a spark. It's a confetti cannon moment. It lights up everything. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring it to life. What I like is for everyone in this row, so these two verticals, you're going to stand up and you're going to, where's my phone? You're going to, I told you you're going to use these phones. You're going to put your light on just like this and hold it up. So everyone in this row, right here at the very end, and right here at the very end, I want you to stand up and put your light on. Let's get those lights up, stand up. All right. Now we're going to amplify them. If you are next to a person who has their light on, stand up and put your light on too. All right, let's get the next person in line. And if you're next to them, stand up and put your light on too. Let's get these lights on, baby. All right, and if you're next to them, let's keep going, let's keep going. I want this table too. Get your lights on. Stand up, get your lights on. I want you to all look around. All right. Yes. This is the power of your amplified energy together. This is synergy, and I want you to feel this and look around the room because you all are the lights of Hard Rock Casino and Hotel Bristol, and I want you to step into that possibility. So say yes with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes! Thank you so much, and this is the energy of success. You can sit down and enjoy your energy for the day. Thank you. Thank you.